The wind rolled across the dry plains of New Mexico, carrying with it the scent of rain that never came and the whisper of a life long gone. Inside a creaking barn at the edge of a sprawling ranch, a lone cowboy named Caleb Foster worked silently, mending a busted wagon wheel. He was a man of few words, his face hardened by years of sun, loss, and solitude. Ever since his wife passed during the harsh winter 3 years ago, Caleb had lived for two things: his ranch and his two little girls, Mary and June. They were the light that broke through the dust of his sorrow, and though their laughter echoed through the ranch, Caleb's heart often felt like a ghost town, empty and haunted. That morning started like any other. The sun rose slow, painting the sky with streaks of fire. Caleb had sent his daughters out to fetch water from the creek, their giggles fading into the distance. Hours passed before he noticed how quiet the ranch had become. Wiping the sweat from his brow, he stepped out of the barn to look for them, and that's when he saw her. Standing at the edge of the yard was a woman dressed in soft buckskin and beads that shimmered in the sun. Her dark hair was braided down her back, and her presence was calm but commanding. In her hands she held the little girls, each clinging to her as if she were a long-lost friend. Caleb's breath hitched. The woman's eyes met his, deep, fierce, and filled with stories of both pain and strength. "Pa!" Mary shouted, her small voice breaking through his daze. "We found her by the creek. She was hurt." Caleb rushed forward, his boots kicking up dust. "You what? Where?" The woman took a hesitant step forward. "Your daughters helped me," she said softly, her voice smooth like water over stone. "I mean no harm. I was escaping trouble." Her words were accented, deliberate, and laced with quiet dignity. Caleb's instincts screamed caution. Times were hard, and the frontier was a dangerous place. Yet as he looked into her eyes, something deeper than logic took hold. He saw not a stranger, but a soul as weary and wounded as his own. "You're hurt," he muttered finally. "Come inside. Let's get you patched up." She hesitated, glancing at the open barn door, then at the girls who refused to let go of her hands. With a slow nod, she followed. Inside, Caleb's rough hands turned gentle as he cleaned a gash on her arm. "Name's Caleb," he said quietly. "Naomi," she replied, "from the Apache tribe to the south." The silence that followed was heavy. The world had not been kind to people like her, and he knew it. But something about the way she carried herself, proud yet kind, softened the space between them. Over the next few days, Naomi helped around the ranch, tending to the animals, gathering herbs, and teaching the girls things Caleb never could: how to listen to the earth, how to braid grass into toys, how to read the wind. The girls adored her, and soon laughter filled the house again. Caleb would watch from afar, his heart stirring with feelings he hadn't dared to feel since his wife's death. One evening, as the sun melted into the horizon, Caleb found Naomi sitting on the fence staring into the distance. "You planning to keep going?" he asked, his voice low. She didn't turn. "I was running from men who took my home," she said. "But I don't know where to go anymore." Caleb swallowed hard. "You're safe here," he said. "As long as you need." Their eyes met again, and for a long moment neither spoke. The air between them seemed to hum with unspoken promises. Days turned into weeks. Naomi's strength returned, and so did something in Caleb, something he thought he'd buried with his grief. He began to smile again, began to talk more. The girls noticed it first. "Pa likes you," June giggled one night when Naomi tucked her into bed. Naomi only smiled softly, brushing the child's hair from her face. "Your father is a good man," she whispered. But peace never lasted long in the Wild West. One afternoon, a group of armed men rode onto the property, bounty hunters looking for Naomi. Caleb stepped outside, his hand on his holster. "Ain't no one here by that name," he lied, his voice steady. The leader sneered. "You sure about that, cowboy? Heard she's been hiding out with a lonely rancher." Caleb's heart pounded, but he didn't waver. Behind him, Naomi stood with the girls, her chin high, her fear hidden behind courage. "You'll have to go through me," Caleb said, his gun drawn. The standoff was tense. Dust swirled, the wind held its breath, and for a moment time itself seemed to freeze. Then a shot rang out. Caleb fired first, and chaos erupted. When the smoke cleared, the bounty hunters were gone, and silence settled over the land once more. Naomi ran to him, trembling. You risked your life for me, she whispered. Caleb looked at her, eyes soft. You saved my family before I even knew it, he said. Maybe it's time I saved yours. From that day on, Naomi stayed, not as a guest, but as part of the family. The ranch grew alive again. Flowers bloomed near the fence lines. The laughter of children filled the air, and every sunset found Caleb and Naomi side by side, watching the sky burn gold. He wasn't just a single cowboy anymore. He was a father, a protector, and a man reborn through love he never expected. The wild had taken much from him, but that day, it gave something back, hope. And if you felt this story stir something in your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more powerful Wild West stories of love, redemption, and courage. Every tale here reminds us, even in the harshest deserts, something beautiful can still grow. The days that followed the shootout carried a silence that wrapped around the ranch like a heavy fog. The smell of gunpowder had long faded, but its memory clung to the air. Caleb patched the bullet holes in the barn himself, his hands steady though his heart was restless. Naomi helped where she could, her presence calm and grounding. The girls, though too young to understand the danger that had passed, sensed the unease. They stayed close to Naomi, their laughter dimmed to whispers. For Caleb, life had never felt so fragile, nor so precious. At dawn one morning, as the first light spilled across the plains, Naomi found Caleb saddling his horse. "You're leaving?" she asked softly, her voice edged with worry. He tightened the strap on the saddle and nodded. "Gotta ride into town. Sheriff will be asking questions after that mess. I need to make sure this place stays off their radar." Naomi frowned. "They'll know it was you who stood up to those men." Caleb gave a faint smile. "Then I reckon they'll think twice before coming back." Naomi stepped closer, her hand brushing his arm. "Be careful," she whispered. Her eyes lingered on him longer than they should have, and for the first time in years, Caleb felt something stir in his chest, a warmth, a promise he didn't dare name. He rode off into the sunrise, leaving Naomi standing in the doorway with the girls at her side. As the dust settled behind him, she felt a quiet ache in her heart, a strange mix of fear and hope. Hours passed before he returned, the sun already dipping low behind the hills. His shirt was torn, his knuckles bruised. Naomi rushed to him. "Caleb, what happened?" He dismounted slowly, wincing. "Ran into trouble. One of the men I ran off didn't take kindly to being embarrassed. Found a few of his friends in town." "Are you hurt?" she pressed, her hands already reaching for the first aid kit. "Just a scratch," he muttered, though the gash on his shoulder said otherwise. Naomi led him inside, her movements sharp with worry. The girls watched silently from the doorway as she cleaned the wound, her fingers trembling slightly. "You shouldn't have gone alone," she said, her voice low. Caleb chuckled, though it came out as a groan. "Didn't think you'd be the worrying kind." Naomi met his gaze. "You've got 2 little girls who depend on you now, and a woman who owes you her life." The room fell quiet. Caleb's hand reached out, brushing against hers. The touch was brief, but it sent a shiver through both of them. "You don't owe me nothing," he said softly. "You've already given more than you know." That night, as rain began to patter gently on the tin roof, the first real rain in months, the 4 of them sat by the fire. Naomi told stories of her people, tales of the stars and spirits that guarded the land. The girls listened with wide eyes, their faces glowing in the firelight. Caleb sat back, quietly mesmerized. The way she spoke, strong, poetic, wise, made him feel like he was hearing the heartbeat of the earth itself. Later, after the girls were asleep, Caleb found Naomi outside, standing in the rain. The moonlight caught the drops on her face, turning them into diamonds. "You should be inside," he said gently. "I like the rain," she replied, tilting her head back. "It means the land forgives." Caleb stepped closer. "You believe the land can forgive?" She nodded slowly. "It always does. It's people who have trouble letting go." He looked at her then, really looked, and saw not the woman he'd taken in weeks ago, but someone who'd become a part of his soul. "Naomi," he started, but the words caught in his throat. She turned to him, her eyes shimmering. "Yes?" "I don't know what you're running from," he said, voice rough, "but you don't have to run anymore. Not from them, not from me." Naomi's breath hitched. "And what if my past brings danger again? Then we face it together." The rain grew heavier, washing away the dust from the porch. Naomi took a shaky step toward him. "You'd risk everything for me?" Caleb smiled faintly. "Already did." He looked out at his daughters and then back at her. "I think I already have." Weeks passed and the bond between them deepened. "Now,